Okay, welcome everybody to the Friday morning warm-up, and today we're looking at the harmonic minor scale, one of the three minor scales, and so we'll be doing that a little bit later. We'll get started with a little bit of clapping, of course, first, then the chromatic scale, and then we'll zoom in on the minor scale. So let's get started. I'm just going to put onto the screen for the last time the football clapping rhythm, which is the left hand 2 bars. If you haven't done this before, if you've been absent for a couple of weeks, what we're talking about here is a thing called metric displacement. It's where a rhythm, a pattern, maybe 1 bar or 2 bar pattern, is played but started at a different point in the bar. So it's the same basic pattern, but it's been shifted time-wise. So if you look at the left hand 2 bars, clap, 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 clap. That's the familiar football clapping rhythm known around the world. But if you started that bar on the, or started that pattern rather, on beat 4 and made that your beat 1, so that would be starting, I don't know if you can see, I hope you can see my pointer. That would be there. That will be what it's like on the second 2 bar, the second pair of bars. So we're going to clap bars 3 and 4, where it goes clap, 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 clap. And then you'll hear that it's just completely, almost unrecognizable. It just shows that just by displacing a rhythm time-wise, but keeping the basic actual pattern, you create something new. So let's just clap the, let's just get my friendly metronome going. We're just going to clap bars 3 and 4, okay? Just 3 and 4, after 4. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Last time. 1, 2, and 3, and 1, 2, 3, 4, and. And just to remind ourselves, let's just clap the first 2 bars a couple of times, just to remind ourselves of what it's like to be at a football match. And here we go. First 2 bars, just around a couple of times. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. There you go. Next time you're at a football match, turn to the chap next to you and explain metric displacement to him. See what he thinks after you've done the clap. Okay, if you'd like to get hold of your instruments, and we will just start to get a little bit of sound out of them. The scale we're doing today is the harmonic minor starting on D. So I'm just going to play, let me just check my tuning. Yeah, near enough science. I'm just going to play the note D for a minute, and if you'd like to just warm your instrument up with some long tones. That was concert D, by the way, of course, and you might have been playing an E on your tenor or a B on your alto. Just something I forgot I was going to suggest starting to do, and this is something you could perhaps do in your own time if it's of interest. One of the things musicians often talk about and think about is this idea of perfect pitch and being able to just out of the blue sing a note or recognize a note when you hear it. And okay, we've probably all got to the stage where we know whether we've got it or not, and there's a good chance statistically you haven't got it. But you can improve your recognition of pitch. And one way to do that is to concentrate on one particular note. Middle C is an obvious one. La, da, if you can hit it. Da. And just start to feel what that feels like singing that in your head. La, la. And then rather than playing it, la, and then singing it, la, before you ever play anything on an instrument, actually have a go at singing that note. La, la, and then see if you're right. And you'll be surprised, especially if you've been playing a musical instrument for a while, because you get familiar with the sound, that you might actually start to be able to hit that note spot on every time. Now, that will come gradually, and I've been trying it, and it does improve, and does improve relatively quickly as well. And once you've got that, assuming you get to a point where you can actually hit a middle C, you can find the other notes by using our techniques we've talked about with intervals. You know, if you know that going up a major fifth, Twinkle Twinkle Little Star, dun, 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 bum, you can find the other notes just by starting on your known C and moving up to the one you're looking for, or trying to recognise. And you know, if that works, there's only a few steps here to actually recognising what notes are being played by recordings and by other instruments, and then also starting to recognise things like keys that songs are in. Oh, that's in the key of A, because you can tell it's major and you can tell it's the pitch of A. So anyway, just a thought. So I might do that next time if I remember. Actually sing the note before you actually play it. Right. Okay, we're going to do the chromatic scale, yes. So let's just start that. Oh yeah, there we are, still there. Okay, but we're starting on D, so we're going to concert note D, up an octave, and then back down again in our usual fashion. So I will get around to changing this pattern one day, but for now, chromatic scale, here we go. All the way up and down. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. We're going to speed that up straight away, because I know you can do that one, because we've done it for a few weeks now. Bit faster. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, it might be quite good easy getting the actual notes right, but then there are other qualities to notes. So do concentrate on tone, consistency, dynamics, and so on. Bit faster. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Couple more, so we're at 140 there. Let's go right up to 180, heading towards presto. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. And I think we've done 200 before, so let's have another go at 200 beats per minute. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Lovely. That's definitely in the presto range. I was going to look at my chart of Tempos, yes. Most of our work is done at andante. I think I mentioned that before, sort of a walking pace. But when you're getting up to 200 beats per minute, oh, prestissimo. Okay, that would have been prestissimo. So lovely stuff. Right, let's move on now to the exercise sheet. And we're looking at the minor scale, in particular, the harmonic minor scale. So a bit of a recap, because we've touched on this before. We've looked at the minor scales in different guises. There are 3 minor scales. That's one thing to remember. There are lots of modes which sound like minor scales, but they're not technically minor scales, they're minor modes. So we're looking at one of the 3 minor scales, and it's the harmonic one. Now, probably the most familiar minor scale is the natural minor, and the reason for that being familiar is because it's a relative of the major scale. And so if you just take the simple C major scale, all the white notes of a piano, C to C, if you started on A, which is the 6th degree of the scale, the 6th note up from C, if you start from A and go from A to A, you've got the A natural minor scale, and it's what was I going to say? Yes, it's the natural minor scale. Oh, it's the relative minor. Sorry, that's the term I was looking for. It's the relative minor of C major, which in turn is the relative major of A minor. So that's one thing to make yourself go to sleep at night, by running through all the notes and picking out their relative minors, and see how far you get before you doze off. Okay, now the thing about the the natural minor, let's get this right, the natural minor, is that it doesn't have a leading note. Not in the sense that the leading note is the one before the tonic, so right at the top, yeah, the last one you get before you get back to the beginning. And the 7th, and that's the 7th note. The 7th note of a minor scale is a tone away from the tonic. So it doesn't have a very strong magnetic pull towards the tonic, in other words. You could still call it the leading note, but it's not leading very strongly. But if you raise it by a semitone, that 7th note of the natural minor scale, it becomes a semitone away, of course, from the tonic. So it has a stronger pull towards it when you hear it, because you've always got this sort of threshold of the main tonic. So when you hear that note semitone away, you think, oh, it's going to get there, it's going to get there. And it's one of the things which makes music move forward. So and that's what the harmonic minor is. It's the natural minor with a raised 7th. And that's what we're going to be looking at in the next few minutes. Now, what that does, of course, is it opens the gap between the 6th, which is the note before it, and that 7th. Now, lots of things I've read and heard say that, oh, now the gap is no longer a tone from the 6th to the 7th, it's now a minor 3rd. And that's actually incorrect. It's actually an augmented 2nd, because the notes, say you're in, let's play this scale first of all, and then we'll talk about that, because it's important to know what notes you're playing first. So what we'll do first is just play the first 2 bars of the sheet, top first 2 bars. That will break up the talking I'm doing into a bit of playing. So let's just play those first 2 bars. It's just up the harmonic minor scale and down again, and you'll I'm sure you've all played this at some time before, but you'll hear when you get to the 6th and 7th there's a big gap, and that's the so-called augmented 2nd gap. So here we go, we're just going to play the first 2 bars up and down the harmonic minor scale. We're in concert D. So it'll be 1, 2 and 3 and 4 and... Do that a couple more times. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and... One more time. 1, 2 and 3 and 4 and... Right. Right, so let me just explain what I was talking about there with this idea of the 6th and 7th. If I walk my way up the scale, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, all natural minor so far, suddenly 7, on the natural minor that would have been a semitone lower. So now it's there, but that's created this gap from the previous note. It's an interval that doesn't appear in a scale in the major scale or its modes of what I was saying was a minor third, which is fine. Yeah, Georgia, the interval from Georgia on my mind. But really it's an augmented second because it's the note D, E, F, G, A, B flat to C sharp. The reason it's a second is because the letters are consecutive, B flat and C. It's not B flat to D something, in which case it would then be a third of some sort. So when they say a third, they always mean there's a missing letter in the gap between the two. So that's an augmented second. It's not a major second, which is only a tone. It's augmented, so it's raised. Anyway, that's a little detail you can ponder on or completely forget. So let's play the second pair of bars. So this is bars 3 and 4. So descending and ascending. So just going to do the same thing, but just going to come down the scale after 4 and up again. 1, 2, and 3 and 4. And again. 1, 2, 3, 4. One more time. 1, 2, 3, 4. And you can see on your notation there, you'll see that the 7th note has got an accidental on it. And that's what's noticeable about all harmonic minor scale melodies, is that there will be an accidental showing that one of the notes is not the same as the key signature. You put harmonic minor scale patterns into the natural minor scale key. So we're in D minor effectively, so that's 1 flat at the beginning of the scale. Sorry, E flats and A flat, B flat people, you'll have to translate to your own sheets. But D natural minor is in the key of 1 flat. And so when you get to that C sharp just before the D, you need to show it as a sharp on the notation. Okay, so we're going to move on now, just a simple exercise which just goes up that scale. We're just going to do those 8 bars going across there, and it's just working its way up the scale 3 notes at a time. So we're suddenly in 3/4 time. Yes, haven't done much of that. So let's just play those 8 bars. So the whole of the second line, just in crotchets now, of course. So just a pattern for going up the scale. Here we go. 1, 2, 1. Sorry, it's in 3, isn't it? 1, 2, 3, 2, 2, 3. Yep, I hope that was okay. If not, this time it will be. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 2, 2, 3. Let's do that one more time. 1, 2, 3, 2, 2, 3. There we go, just one of millions of possible patterns you could use to practice the harmonic minor scale 3 notes at a time. I only put it in 3/4 just to make it a little bit more straightforward logistically. So, okay, moving on to the next line now. What we've just done here is just to show you what the chords are if you harmonize the harmonic minor scale. You can harmonize any scale, and that really means you take the root, the third and the fifth, starting on each of the degrees of the note scale in turn. So the first one is starting on the root note, going up root, third, fifth, and then going to on the next bar it's the second, starting on the second note of the scale and going root, third, fifth, and so on. And you get this collection of little triads, chords: D minor, E diminished in terms of concert pitch, augmented, minor, major, quite a mixture actually. And in the harmonic minor scale you get a bigger variety than you do in the major scale, where you tend to get just majors and minors. You get the augmented triad on the third degree. If you look along, you'll see the augmented triad. That's a major third up on the first interval and another major third on the second interval. And the others are majors, majors, minors, and diminished. But that's where the augmented appears. You don't get the augmented interval at all in the major scales. So we'll just play across that these triads now. Just do them slowly. So after 3, we're just going to play the first triad. Just listen to the sound of a minor triad. 1, 2, 3. Okay, one more time. 1, 2, 3. So that's concert D minor, E or B for the others. Let's go on to the next one. So this is a diminished triad. So it's a minor third followed by another minor third to make a diminished triad. So we're on the second one now. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, different sound. It's got that flattened fifth on top. 1, 2, 3. Juicy. Right, now onto the augmented one. So this is a sound we probably haven't heard on the Friday morning warm-up. So this, somewhere in the obscure past it popped up. So this is a major third followed by another major third to make an augmented triad. There are only 4 possible triads. This is the 4th one we've come across. So now we're going to be playing the third bar. After 3, 1, 2, 3. Oh, yes. Try singing that. 1, 2, 3. Do, do, do. One more time, because that's a new one. 1, 2, 3. And okay, let's move on to the next one. This is another minor one. So and these triads come about simply because of the pattern of the harmonic minor scale itself. So the notes are always landing on chord tones, scale tones rather. So on the 4th one, 1, 2, 3. And again, 1, 2, 3. Of course, you can play this as an exercise from left to right, but I just wanted to do a bit of explanation as we went along. So we're on the 5th one now, and it's a major triad. Now this is an important one because we're now 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 along. So this is the dominant. Now this is important because if this was the natural minor scale that we were taking these chords from, that second note, which is the major third, would be a minor third. So this would be a minor triad. And being a minor triad in the dominant position, it's weak. It doesn't make you want to go back to the tonic. But by doing what we talked about earlier, raising the 7th to the sharp, that's what you're seeing on this major third. The minor triad has become a major triad. And so it's got that leading note in it, making it a strong pull to the tonic. So that not only is it a leading note in the melodies, it's a leading note in the dominant chord. And here we are at that moment. So let's play that major triad from the 5th bar. 1, 2, 3. Oh, sorry, yeah, after 3. 1, 2, 3. If I followed that by the tonic chord, you've got a 5-1. I've just played the first tonic to show you what the resolution sounds like. Okay, one more time on the major triad. 1, 2, 3. You can tell it wants to go back to the minor. And those of you that dabble in jazz and you see a minor 2-5, well, this is the 5. This is where it comes from, this harmonic minor scale. A lot of jazz chords are derived from the harmonic scale. And this is one where the minor, where the 5 chord comes in a minor 2-5. And the 2 comes from the 2 chord in this particular sequence, the diminished at the beginning. We haven't added the 7ths, but that will be for another day. But so the minor 2-5, 1 in a jazz piece, this is where it comes from. This is the origins of those chords. Okay, moving on to the 6th one. The B flat major concert. It's another major triad. Let's play that after 3. 1, 2, 3. Interestingly, a semitone above the previous major. Yeah, something you don't get in a major scale. Harmonization. One more time on the 6th one. 1, 2, 3. And now we're on to the 7th one. We're back to another diminished triad. Sorry, the 7th. Did I say the 7th? Yeah, the 7th, the diminished one. 1, 2, 3. This also needs resolving to the tonic as well. The 7th degree usually does. There we go. For reasons which we'll explore when one day we'll look at the 7th chords in these keys, these scales. Right, so they're the triads which are derived when you harmonize the harmonic minor scale. Nice collection of very interesting chords, which you will hear in all sorts of music, sometimes by accident, sometimes by deliberate compositional skill by the person who wrote the tune. Okay, let's move on now to some examples of where you'll hear the harmonic minor scale being played in a melody. Now, normally a harmonic minor scale is to do with the harmony, and the clues in the name, and a lot of very interesting and harmonious chords come from this scale. But sometimes people put tunes to it as well using the scale, and I ought to have done these the other way around, but we're going to start with one which actually is based on a mode of the harmonic minor scale. That's the well-known Jewish folk song Hava Nagila, which you all have heard. That's, after you've played it, if not before. And this is based on the harmonic minor scale. As you can tell, it's got that sharp in it, that raised 7th. Let me just get the metronome ready. Do do. Dun, dun. So I haven't got perfect pitch. Dun, 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 dun. That one. Right, let's play those 4 bars then. If you're not familiar with the tune, just have a listen the first time, then play along the 2nd and 3rd times. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, now the thing about this is we're in D concert, D harmonic minor, but this clearly is based around A. It starts and finishes on the note A. It's got something A about it, and A is the dominant. So it looks like it might be based on a mode, and in fact it is. It's based on the 5th degree mode. So like the major scale, minor scales have modes, and this is based on the 5th degree. In fact, a lot of music from the Middle East is based on the fifth mode of the harmonic minor scale, which really means rather than starting on D, you start on A, D, E, F, G, A, 5, and count from there up to D, and you get a scale. Sounds a little bit more Oriental, a little bit more Middle Eastern rather, and that's where that tune comes from. So that's a mode of the harmonic minor scale. Right, let's move on to the last two examples. And I know Chris has mentioned this tune before. Plug-in Baby by Muse. They're a sort of a prog rock, modern prog rock band, and they use a lot of influences such as classical music and the modes and so on in their compositions. Technically very able musicians, and this is a tune called Plug-in Baby. If you don't like distorted guitar, I wouldn't listen to it, but if you do, you'd love it. It's quite an exciting piece of music, and played at a furious pace, and this is only the first two bars of about 10 minutes. So what we'll do is we'll just play that first example, which is clearly a use of the harmonic minor scale. And it's also got sort of Bach influences, I think you'll think when you hear it. So let's just play those two bars from Plug-in Baby by Muse. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, and 4. Do that again. 1, 2, 3, 4. One more time. 1, 2, 3, 4. And in fact, the key, a clue rather, to knowing that's in the harmonic minor is that sharp at the accidental at the beginning of the tune. So it's starting actually on the leading note, that one. So okay, did you recognise it? Right, moving on to the last example. I think everyone would recognise this. Bach's Toccata in D minor, and the Toccata and Fugue in D minor. If you're There are more than one Toccata and Fugues in D minor, so if you're looking this up on Spotify, make sure you get the version number 565. BWV, that's his catalogue number, 565, and you'll find this. And you've all heard it before because it's appeared in things like the film Fantasia, it's the theme tune to Rollerball, the film, it's appeared in all sorts of dramas and so on. And I'm sure Emerson, Lake and Palmer probably played it as well at some point. So, okay, let's give this one a go. I'm saying that because I've just noticed all the semi-quavers in there. But so it's 1, 2, da-da-da, da-da-da-da-da-da. Yeah, that one. It's only the intro. It's 12 minutes long, but this is the first two bars. After two, hang on. Get this right. After 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2. 1. So we've got a 1.5 bar rest at the beginning and a, yeah, you get the idea. Let's do that again. After 4 with a 1.5 bar beat rest at the beginning. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2. 1. One more time. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2. 1. Okay, another example of a melody based on the harmonic minor. Okay, well, obviously this is a subject you could probably study to degree level, and we've just done it in sort of 20 minutes. So, fascinating subject, the harmonic minor. We've only looked at the tip of the iceberg, but okay, well, we'll leave that there for now, and let's just get down to a little bit of strumming and winding down. So I'm just going to put onto the screen the chords that I'm going to strum, and needless to say, these chords, these triads, are all taken from that particular harmonic minor scale. So I'm going to strum those. You can, if you want to practice improvising using that scale, do make up some melodies or practice your arpeggios. So just for a minute, just until we finish. Here we go, after 4. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's do that one more time. 2, 3, 4. Finish on the tonic. And there we have it, our little look at the harmonic minor scale. Okay, that's it for today, folks. I'm just going to get the thing off the screen, if I can find the stop share button. If anyone's in Chelmsford lunchtime at the cathedral, there